Hey, what's up, Lateral Grip fans? This is Comedian Token, and we are going to talk everything Martinsville. You see, I threw up my little sign back there in case y'all don't know. That is actually my son. Now, he is 19 years old now, so this is a long time ago, but this tells you how big of a NASCAR fan I was. This was seen at Trackside Live way back in the day when people held up their signs and stuff. I have a couple of others that they actually told me I couldn't show, like they made me turn them around. I had two-sided signs, and they were like, "Okay, you can't have that one facing the stage because that one's controversial or whatever like that." Again, as I told you, I'm a Jerry Mayfield fan. I don't know if you can see it, but there is actually, let me move this mic down, a signature of his right there. And then, of course, like I said, that's my son back there as well. So there we go. So we are going to talk news and notes. Not really a whole bunch of news before the Martinsville race. Of course, obviously it's the paperclip. We got the short track package where we have more horsepower, um, less downforce. Don't know that that was going to make as big a difference at Martinsville. Obviously off throttle time and ability to spin the tires is a thing, but we didn't really know what we were going to deal with when it came to, when it came to tire fall off. Obviously we wanted tire fall off, but we didn't know if it was going to be a big deal, and it didn't really sound like it was a major deal as far as tire fall off went. It did help, obviously, to have tires. There's no question about that, but yeah, so as far as those things go, but we're just going to go right into it. This is probably going to be pretty short. We only have two races to cover, don't have a lot of major news, so let's get into it. Let's talk about that O'Reilly's race. Now, the O'Reilly's race, the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts NFPA 250. There we go. That was on the March 28th there. Okay, so Justin Allgaier does it again. Justin Allgaier is winning him some races. So he does it again. He wins this race. However, this race was a pretty caution filled race. Now, um, lap 60, stage one won by Corey Day. Stage two was won by Austin Hill. There were some other leaders in the race. Again, Justin Allgaier didn't necessarily dominate this race, but Justin Allgaier has figured out that if you save the car and you're around when it's time to be there, he can win the race. That's all there is to it, and he's figured that out. And they are doing a really, really good job of just being in the mix, staying quiet, and getting it done when the time comes. And congratulations on that. Junior Motorsports has been pretty dominant. That's all obviously Allgaier's win. But that was the fifth consecutive victory for Junior Motorsports in that race. So there's that as well. Again, Corey Day. We had talked about Corey Day. Talked about the Hendrick conversation that was had that pretty much everybody knew about, and obviously that made a difference because Corey Day is taking what the car gives him. I've said it over and over again. He's taking what the car gives him, and he's around at the end, and he's making moves. He's making and he's doing very well. Doing very well, as a matter of fact. Congratulations there. Top 10 in that race. Justin Allgaier. Second was Corey Day. That was his best finish. Corey Day third. Sammy Smith fourth. Sheldon Creed fifth. Lee Pulliam. Now, Lee Pulliam. Let's talk about Lee Pulliam for a second. I kind of talked about this briefly. So Lee Pulliam, Junior Motorsports. Lee Pulliam is a short track star, short track guy. It's kind of funny because everybody's been saying how great Dale Jr.'s been doing about giving drivers their props and getting them a seat at the table, essentially, right? Getting them a seat in a car, which is great. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like they've been doing that since they were getting a time for up and coming drivers. This is just a little different story, right? Like kind of like Josh Berry. Josh Berry was in the series for a very long time, talking about late models and such. And Josh Berry ended up hooking up with Dale Jr. and the rest is history, right? Josh Berry's in the 21 Wood Brothers Ford now. But Josh Berry went from part-time Xfinity to a full-time Xfinity, and it was Xfinity nationwide, maybe even then. Um, O'Reilly's now, of course. And now he is full-time Cup Series in the 21 Wood Brothers car, which you wish was running a little better, but at the same time, he is in a full-time Cup ride. And of course, that ride's going to get better. I mean, it's Penske driven, so it's going to get better when it comes down to it. Now, Lee Pulliam, kind of on the same trajectory. Lee Pulliam is an older guy. I say older as and not as old as me, but older guy who had never had a shot in the Truck Series, in the nation, in the O'Reilly Series or anything. And Lee Pulliam was given a shot in a junior motorsports car. Hey, man, if you're going to get one shot and you get it in the best car or one of the best cars, why not? Right. So there you go. So he was in that car. Lee Pulliam ends up, um, I mean, he puts it up there towards the front. He races well all day. However, they did have a bad pit stop in the race. This is kind of some news here. They did have a bad pit stop in the race, which put him towards the back. They had it. They hadn't actually put him at the back. Excuse me. They had an uncontrolled tire. I remember this. They had an uncontrolled tire, which Lee immediately said, "Did I do something wrong?" And no, the tire just got away from one of the crew members there. Unfortunately, made a bad bounce, and that showed Lee Pulliam why this racing can be so hard because it doesn't matter how great your car is, everything has to be right. But with that being said, he did have a great car. He drove back to the front. However, on a late race restart, he did not have the best restart. Now they've all had them. I'm not going to put that on Lee or anybody else. That's just obviously time in the car, so to speak. But he didn't have the best restart. He stacked up the field. There was some carnage because of that. However, good news, it didn't affect Lee, didn't affect his finish per se. So he still gets a top 5 out of his first race in the O'Reilly series. Congrats to that. So again, Lee Pulliam is 5th, Austin Hill 6th place, Dean Thompson 7th. Good run for Dean there. Sam Hunt car. 8th, Ross Chastain. 9th, Ryan Sieg. And 10th was Brent Cruz, which, by the way, now is full-time because he has turned 18, and so he's now full-time in the series. Once again, Justin Allgaier wins the race. So with Justin Allgaier winning the race, he extends his points lead, as far as the championship points go or the regular season points go. And there you go. That is the O'Reilly series. Now, keep in mind, and we'll talk about this here in just a moment. Next week at Rockingham is our debut of Mr. Cletus McFarland. So we'll talk about that here in a few minutes as well. But now we'll move right on to the Cup Series. Now, the Cup Series. This was a good race, but at the same time, it was I'm not going to say boring race. I don't want to say boring race. Racing is racing, right? But it was a dominated race. It was a race that was dominated by Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin was the class of the field. There was no question. Denny Hamlin had a dominant car. I mean, he didn't even look like he was pushing it. He was just driving that thing, and it went wherever he wanted it to go. He was looking really, really good in that car most of the day. So, matter of fact, he led 292 laps of this race. That tells you how dominant his car was. However, in NASCAR, it all has to be right. That's just all there is to it. The team has to be good. The car has to be good. Everything has to be good. And on that last restart, there was a problem. He didn't know what the problem was. He felt like there was a problem. He felt the problem, but he didn't know necessarily what the problem was or how to correct the problem. With that being said, he ends up having a loose wheel. He felt like it was a loose wheel. It was confirmed that it was a loose wheel. And somehow or another, he was able to keep that wheel on to the finish, and he was still fast. He just wasn't lights out fast like he'd been the whole race. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Chase Elliott. Now, again, let's talk about loose for a second. Loose wheel, loose thinking. What do y'all want to think about it? Denny Hamlin's got a loose wheel. Now, this doesn't play out in course until like the last restart, essentially, right? But Chase Elliott has a crew chief who is thinking, we're not winning this race. We're just kind of hanging around. And for lack of a better term, I'm going to say he was loose thinking, right? He was thinking outside the box. He was like, what can I do that's different than everybody else? And so Chase Elliott's team, Alan Gustafson, his crew chief, decides to short pit on lap 261. Now, again, I say lap 261 is a 400 lap race. That means that Chase Elliott is going to have to pit probably one more extra time than anybody else, and he's probably going to have to pit at a different time than everybody else. Now, he was kind of followed in strategy by one other team, but they didn't have the car. Chase Elliott not only had to catch some cautions, but he had to be able to have a car that was drivable, get through the field, and do what it needed to do. And it, in fact, did that. And in fact, one of the other teams that I think also followed that strategy was Josh Berry, and we'll talk about that here in just a second. We was talking about him in the other segment, but we'll talk about that here in just a second. So they short pit, they get a couple of key cautions, and next thing you know, Chase Elliott is leading this race. And again, have has if Denny Hamlin doesn't have the issues that Denny Hamlin has, he probably wins the race. Chase Elliott maybe finishes second in the race. But because Denny couldn't have the drive off, he just the wheel for whatever reason, caused an issue. Um, well, not for whatever reason, it was a loose wheel. But Chase Elliott wins the race. Chase Elliott gets his first win of the season. Everybody takes a big sigh of relief because now Hendrick is back where Hendrick needs to be, and nobody's worried about the nose on the car anymore. I wasn't worried about the nose on the car. I think they were going to be just fine. But everybody was talking about, should they panic? Should it be, well, here we go. We took the panic off. Simple as that. Done deal. No need to worry any longer about the Hendrick Motorsports team and the nose on the new Chevy. It's a done deal. We know it's going to work. We're good. Okay, no more issues there. But here's some storylines that are important in this race. Bubba Wallace was third. I mean, he might have even been fourth. I think he actually went down one spot, but he was either third or fourth in the championship standings, the regular season championship standings coming into this race. Bubba Wallace is racing. He's racing Carson Hocevar. There you go, the Hurricane. He's racing Carson Hocevar. Let me see here. I'll try to tell you what lap that was. Let's see. Real quick here. Let's see. Maybe I won't tell you what lap that was. All right. Well, we won't worry about the lap. But either way, he's racing Carson Hocevar. Carson Hocevar, excuse me. We're just going to call him the Hurricane. The Hurricane makes it 3 wide. Makes it 3 wide at Martinsville, which is an unwritten, again, here we go with those unspoken things, right? Those things that you're not necessarily supposed to do. Well, Carson did it. He made it 3 wide going to the inside to come up in front of Bubba. He technically came up in front of Bubba with no problem, cleared him just fine. However, Bubba didn't like it. Now, instead of Bubba just showing his displeasure, giving him a nice hit, a nice bump essentially going into the corner and just kind of, taking him out of shape a little bit, Bubba decided to continue pushing him through the corner and eventually pushed himself right into a wreck and destroyed his car. Now, if he would have pushed him and gone away unscathed, it would have been like, there you go. You got what you got, Carson. Haha. But that is not what happened in this case. Unfortunately, this is one of those things where they say you lost your mind and you did too much. And this is kind of what happened here. Bubba did too much. I don't know that he lost his mind, but he did too much. And because of that, he ended up destroying his own car in the process of trying to hurt Carson's car. And what ends up happening here is Bubba has a horrible finish. I mean, he ends up, having a horrible day at Martinsville. And the way these points stack up this year, now again, we're still early in the season. Bubba goes from essentially third place to now 11th place in points just that quick. Now he's above that 16th place cutoff, but it wasn't necessary. It didn't need to happen. And Bubba will learn from it. Bubba will be just fine. And that's gonna be that. But it definitely hurt him for that day. And it's definitely hurt him in the points. He's got a lot to make up now. He's got to really watch his P's and Q's. He's got to really pay attention to what he's doing for at least the next 4 to 6 weeks to try to recover in those points. He's got the cars to do it. There's no question about that. The cars are fast. But now they just have to execute and make sure that happens. So there you go on that. So we're going to talk about the top 10 in this race. So top 10, Chase Elliott once again wins the race. Hendrick, yay. Denny Hamlin second. Third, Joey Logano. Huge bounce back from Darlington. They were horrible at Darlington. They could not believe how bad they were at Darlington, but they were not good. So huge bounce back from that. Joey Logano finishes third at Martinsville. Fourth, Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs has been running them off, man. Ty Gibbs has been top five, top six, top five. He's poised. He's poised for a win. Will he get it? I don't know. It's so hard to win in this series, and everything has to come together. And I don't know. I mean, Ty Gibbs, even though he's putting them together, I think he still makes mistakes really when it comes down to it. And he, I don't know what it's gonna be like. One thing we know we don't have to worry about is a ride. So I don't think you should worry about that. But anyway, top five, William Byron, Ryan Blaney, sixth place. Oh, speaking of which, let's talk about Martinsville one more time. There was another incident here at Martinsville. Denny Hamlin also probably didn't help his car in the situation. Denny Hamlin runs Ryan Blaney up the track, and just Ryan Blaney hits the wall. He basically ran Ryan Blaney out of room. Ryan Blaney hits the wall. Denny Hamlin took responsibility for this. Denny Hamlin said, "My fault. We had a conversation. There's no question about it." Now everybody's saying, you can drive better than that and that sort of thing. And stuff happens, man. Stuff happens. I'm not gonna just say there's total blame here or anything like that. However, again, he did run him up the track. Denny, you had a dominant car. You probably could have stayed low with no problem. But with that being said, Ryan Blaney still recovers and gets a sixth place finish out of it, even after basically taking out the wall. So, good job, Ryan Blaney there. Seventh, Christopher Bell. Eighth, Austin Cindric. Austin Cindric has been doing well as well for Penske. He has been consistent. He has been, silently consistent, really and truly, when it comes down to it. So ninth, Kyle Larson. And then 10th, we have Josh Berry. The Wood brothers needed that. Now, again, pretty sure they were on the same strategy as Chase Elliott with that, stopping, being short pitting and going through the motions. They didn't have the car that Chase Elliott did to get up there like they did. However, they still were able to get a 10th place finish out of it, strategy being played. So congratulations to the Wood Brothers team, that crew chief as well, for making that bold move, just like Alan Gustafson. And, so I know everybody gave Alan his props. I'm giving you your props, even though I don't know your name. So congratulations on that. That's the top 10 there. Now, again, we talked about those points standing. Tyler Reddick still has a huge point lead. Tyler Reddick is still a little over 40-point lead over second place Ryan Blaney. Denny Hamlin is now in third. Almost 100 points back. Chase Elliott, again, wins mean a lot this year. Chase Elliott is in fourth place, a little over 100 points back. William Byron in fifth. Now, again, this is where it gets interesting because 11th place is what Bubba Wallace moved down to. So that just tells you how important these points are, how important these things are. Now, next week, y'all. Next week is, and that's the Martinsville Cup race. Now there is no Cup racing next week. Next week is Rockingham, going to the Rock again. So we'll have the O'Reilly series there. We'll have the O'Reilly series there at Rockingham, but we'll also have the Truck Series at Rockingham. We'll have Corey Heim there, looking for his second truck win in a row, so that he can take part in that triple truck. Look at me not being able to say stuff. Triple truck challenge, in which he's already won $50,000 for winning the first leg of the triple truck challenge, and didn't even have a ride going into Martinsville or Bristol to defend that honor, because the way the triple truck challenge works is if you win the second race, well, you win $100,000. If you win the third race, so if you took all three, then you would win $500,000 on top of the 50 and the 100 you already won for the first two races. Now, if you're somebody who wins new in the triple truck challenge, then you only win 50,000. But Corey Heim has an opportunity to win 100,000 in that truck race at Rockingham. So pretty sure he's going to have a truck to race at Rockingham. There's pretty much no question in my mind that's going to happen. So we'll see what happens next week in that triple truck challenge. O'Reilly's is going to be on track as well in Rockingham, and this will be the debut race for the O'Reilly's car 33. I'm sorry, not O'Reilly's car. It's actually the Tommy's Car Wash car. The number 33 for Cletus McFarland for Hendrick Motorsports. So this will be his debut event. This will be his event where he tries to stay out of trouble, watch his P's and Q's, and just get it home to the checker flag. Try to run as many laps as he can. Stay on the lead lap if possible, but he has zero experience in this series. So, and he will be racing the ARCA race before the O'Reilly's race, so that will give him a little more experience on the track, of course. And of course, NASCAR's gonna be watching him. NASCAR's gonna be watching him because he is trying to qualify to race or get approved, not qualify, approved to race Talladega. That's his goal is to be able to race the super speedways. And in order to do that, he's got to show that he can race respectively, no matter what place he's in on the track. So there you go with that. So with all that being said, guys, that's all I have for this week. This is a short one, I know, but we will be back next week to talk Rockingham Easter weekend. And till then, stay smooth, stay fast, and keep that right foot on the pedal. And appreciate y'all. And again, I need comments, man. I need comments. I need I need some people to review this podcast. Tell me what you think. And if you know anybody in the industry, I would love to have some guests on this show. Let's bring some variety, some action to it. And so once again, thank you all. And we will see you all next time.